Hey guys, today I'll be going over the Metropolitan Police Department de-escalation techniques, and this will just be an overview of the document. So let's get right into it. So de-escalation 101 is essentially for new officers to learn and to really grasp that will help them survive in their LARPing careers. So let's get right into it. So what is de-escalation? De-escalation is when we do not escalate a tensed up situation. So basically, we don't want to continue an argument, right? We want to de-escalate to where we can resolve and fix things, not, have things become more havoc for both parties. De-escalating also means to respect and listen a person's words. Generally, we want to feel sympathy and put ourselves in their shoes. So what I mean by this is that you want to, when you de-escalate, um, you want to, sympathize with them. You want to, you know, understand that, they're a victim, right? Sometimes you might pull over somebody and, it could have been a mistake from your own, you know, you could have made a mistake and they become the victim, so you want to feel what they feel, right? It's gonna be anger, it's gonna be sadness, right? They're gonna feel unfair, they're gonna feel scared, right? So you want to put yourself in their shoes and find out a way to get their trust again. And escalating essentially means that it's the opposite of de-escalating, which is to not respect or listen to a person's words, but we ignore them and put ourselves first. So what escalating is essentially continuing to argue. So what that is that, you know, you have your bias, right? And you want to defend your bias. You want to defend your own beliefs. So, and you're just going to do anything you can to escalate it, right? You might not know that you are escalating it, but essentially you are. So why is it important? So in summary, de-escalating is important when we are being transparent to the public. We need to ignore our biases and not defensive when a situation becomes tensed, and treat everybody the same way as you want to be treated. So just keep that in mind. So how should we approach others? When we approach others, be respectful, polite. When people are dissatisfied with your service, approach them with respect and sympathy. What sympathy is that, in summary, it's understanding one's emotions and understanding their feelings. So you wanna understand, you wanna cope with them, right? Remember, you don't want to use negative connotations or argue with the person when something is outside your jurisdiction, or something that may affect your bias. So religion, right? I am a Catholic, Christian, so I follow Jesus Christ. Versus, if a Muslim says that my religion is wrong, it's gonna hurt me, right? And it's gonna affect my own bias, how I think about Islam, right? And interest. So things are interesting. It is important that we shouldn't have a conflict of interest with other people, and you want to treat everybody the same way as you don't even know them. So what this means is that, let's say you pull over Chief Hadil, and you wanna treat her as the same way you're gonna treat a regular civilian, right? You know, of course you can make jokes and all, but you know, be professional. You wanna treat Hadil, as she is gonna be like to the public, right? So that's what a conflict of interest is. You right, including your friends, right? Your job, you're supposed to be neutral. You know, if somebody is, if your friend murders somebody, right? It's gonna have a conflict of interest. So just keep that in mind. If that ever happens, then you have to do your duties, right? So remember that. So scenario one, you pull over somebody for swerving in and out lanes as well flinging a vehicle. Not entirely. Um, you lights and signs, right? You pull them over, and they are a commander of special forces, right? So Punisher, deadly, right? They power trip you, right? Hypothetically, you know if Deadly becomes, angry that he's above you, he has a higher rank than you. So what would you do? Would you escalate the situation by approaching them with their title? So would you point out that they're a director, and continue to argue that he's in the wrong? Would you de-escalate the situation by approaching them with their title? So would you find a way to get in their head, right? Like try to like find them, like try to have them realize that they're in the wrong. De-escalate the situation by approaching them that they're right. So would you say that, oh, I'm sorry, even though you're the commander, right? I'm just doing my duty, but you are right. I'm just gonna let you go, right? Yeah, okay. D, de-escalate the situation by approaching them with their title and what they did was wrong. So, it's similar to B, but which one would you think is the good choice? Think about it. Now, scenario 2. You are driving and you hear gunshots coming northwest of your location. You head over to see the Secretary of Treasury discharge a firearm at someone else's vehicle. You pull them over and to see the Secretary of Treasury, right? Discharge a firearm at somebody else's vehicle. You pull them over, and all occupants in that side, like all the occupants that they all side to the secretary argue that what you're doing is illegal. So what you're doing is a legal stop. They're telling you that's a legal detainment. What would you do? So A, would you de-escalate the situation by using their title as well, inform them on the law, and it's your duty. So would you say that, oh, you're the Secretary of Treasury, it's my duty to inform the law and what you did was bad, right? B, de-escalate the situation by understanding that they're the secretary and let them peacefully go on their business as if nothing happened. So would you just let them go, just because they're the secretary, they're allowed to do it, why not, right? You know, C, de-escalate the situation by putting yourself in their shoes but remain neutral on informing the law. Oh. So would you de-escalate the situation by understanding how they feel, but you want to remain neutral that you can still uphold the law? Or D, all the above, right? Do you think all of them are okay? So in this question, A and C are almost the same, but right, you have to think about which one's the best, right? Which one would be the best choice, the best option. Scenario 3. A moderator, okay, joins DC, goes in civilians and randomly kills a civilian, right? You see it happen, not knowing that they're moderator, right? You're a new officer. You don't know that they're moderator, that they have admin powers in DC. You then arrest them for murder, right? Moments later, as you're patrolling, they join their respective team, okay? So you see that they're moderator, cool, and detains you as well, right? They pull up right in front of you, detain you, and threaten you. What you did was illegal. What should you do? Remain neutral and inform them that what you have seen was illegal and it goes against the criminal code. Okay. Remain neutral and inform them that their title and position, that they're not above the law. Okay. Remain neutral and inform them that you are doing your job and what they're doing is illegal in both DC code and your moderation policy. Okay. Remain neutral and inform them that they're not above anything regardless on and off duty. Okay. So this one's a tricky one. So you do want to think about it. What would be the best choice to you, right? There's no right or wrong answer, but what would be the best choice to you? So, the do's and don'ts of de-escalation. So the do's. So these are my 4 do's and 4 don'ts. So for 4 do's are to remain neutral of your position and their position regarding any encounter, right? You want to be neutral for everything. You want to, remain neutral that you're an officer. You know, you want to remain neutral that even if they're the president, you want to remain neutral. De-escalate by being positive, not negative, right? You want to be positive, right? You want to, understand what they're doing. You want to understand that why they did it. You want to understand that, why would they do it, right? All in that moment of a stop. Record your interaction. If possible, do a voice commentary, so that what you type is you felt was the best attempt to it. So what I mean by this is, let's say I'm out on patrol and I stop somebody, right? I want to talk, to my mic as well as I'm typing, so people can see what I was thinking at the time, right? So you'll probably see this in the video when you watch it on your own, but you'll see it. You'll see me talk to myself because at the end of the day, I want to be transparent. You want to be transparent. De-escalate by putting yourself in their shoes. Yet you need to as well not back down on your performing your duty. Be transparent and accountable for any mistake. Remember that. So what this means is that you if you make a mistake, um, you know, let's say you didn't know that speeding was not enforced, right? It's not enforced. Pull them over, right? You want to still perform your duty, right? Let them off in a warning that they could have hit somebody, but yet you want to apologize to them that, hey, I'm sorry that speeding. I did not know that speeding is not enforced. I'm terribly sorry. I hope you can forgive me. However, just make sure that in the end of the day, just drive more carefully. It's nice to speed, right? Nobody enforces it, I guess, but in the end of the day, it is what it is. But just make sure you know, you don't hit somebody intentionally just to have them fling off the map, right? Um, don'ts. So, do not be biased for any position you hold. Remember that you're not going to win every argument. So, let's say I'm a cop and I pulled over somebody for recklessly driving, or let's use speeding, right? And I try to argue that, oh, just in real life it's illegal. I'm sorry, but in DC, right, it's not illegal. It's different, right? You're not gonna win that argument because DC law is way different than IRL. So just keep that in mind. Do not avoid holding accountability. Just because you have arrest tools doesn't mean you're the poop. What this means is that do not just don't avoid it. There's gonna be moments where you do have to say sorry. There have to be moments where you have to submit yourself that what you did is wrong and you understand it fully. It's better to see a officer that takes accountability than it does to see an officer that has a stick tied in up their butt and just have that bias. Um, do not escalate by putting yourself first and arguing that you're right and they're wrong. Do not belittle them or degrade them. So this means is that don't escalate the situation, right? Don't make them feel small. Don't make them feel worthless. Just because you're a cop and you have arrest tools, right? Don't escalate it, right? You're the same as that person. You just have tools, and those tools are from the game creators, so they can take away the tools if they wanted to. So just keep that in mind. Remember that. Just because you have tools, doesn't mean you're always right, right? You know, you don't have power at all, right? I mean, of course you have authority, but you have to use that reasonably. And if you don't, then you're gonna get in a lot of more trouble than anything else. That last one is, when recording, do not tamper the recordings to get away or lie under oath when being held accountable. Like, if you get in trouble and you recognize it, you know it. Don't ruin your record. Like, don't even tamper anything. At the end of the day, don't be an idiot and try to hide the evidence, because you're just gonna get blacklisted. Alright, so 1-2 accountability and transparency scenarios. So, you pull over somebody for speeding. You forgot it isn't enforced and they point that out. So let's say I pull over Checksburger and he points that out. So what would I do? I, 1, apologize and offer them money. B, apologize and offer them that you'll educate yourself with DC criminal code. C, do not apologize and keep upholding your duty. Okay, so basically, I won't apologize. I'll still stick to my word. I'm still being that cop. D, do not apologize and hold that it's enforceable in real life. So, just don't apologize and argue that in real life it's enforceable. 2, you are heading to a bank robbery. You see a person exiting the bank. You stop them and arrest them for robbing, even though you did not see them rob. So A, would you apologize and offer them compensation? Okay. B, apologize and explain what led up to your actions. Okay. C, do not apologize and argue that They were robbing for a reason, being the alarm is on and they were in the bank lobby. Okay. D. Do not apologize and argue that you have a recording that they left the bank as soon as you got there. Okay. So let me talk about number two. So number two, even though you see somebody exit out of bank, doesn't mean that they robbed it. They could have been depositing money. So you just have to keep that in mind. Even if they're depositing money from the vault, you have to see it in order for it to be probable cause. Otherwise, just because they're exiting out of the bank, could have just been a civilian, depositing money because they were finding a local bank near them. Right? You don't really know, so you have to create that probable cause. Okay, another 1-2 accountability and transparency scenarios. Alright. As you patrol, you run a stop and accident. So, okay, so you ran a stop sign on accident, but yet still drive. Unknowingly, a fellow police officer, or fellow MPD officer of your division, so traffic division, stops you or patrol. Okay, so what should you do? Drive off since blue on blue is illegal in MPD. Okay, that's true, but should you drive off? Argue that you're a police officer and you're allowed to break traffic laws? Okay. C. Stop and respect the officer and take account for your mistake. Okay. D. Arrest the officer for false attainment, since you can argue that you're responding to a bank robbery, if there was a bank robbery. Okay. So this one, you have to think about it, because again, just remember that just because you're a cop, you're not that powerful. Yeah, right? Really think about it. I'm not going to tell you the answers because it's all about what you think, and it's how it's going to be judged when you do make a mistake, because I'm just going to say this now, that when you're in MPD, you're going to make one mistake. Don't forget it. 2. As you patrol, you run into a vehicle causing them to fling off the map while responding to a bank robbery. Okay, so you're patrolling and then you spawn to a bank robbery and you accidentally fling off a vehicle that was supposedly that the person inside was FBI. Okay, so an FBI officer. So one, what would you do if that guy were to later on approach you and you see that they're FBI and they're gonna bring up that situation? So what would you do? A. Justify your mistake but argue that you're responding to a bank robbery. Okay. Justify your mistake and take accountability afterwards. Okay. Account for your speeding, but you had a reason to drive at a high speed. Okay. Account for your speeding and apologize. Okay. So this one, you have to think about it because it may happen in the future. These are a lot of these scenario questions are from experience that I had. So there's one answer that I would pick for what I did and what really helped. Otherwise, you just have to decide yourself. So, de-escalation tips 101. Just always make sure to apologize for any mistake or negligence on the law that you perform. So always apologize for anything you had a mistake on. Always make sure to take accountability and be transparent, right? I rather see that on an I report than you argue and continue to argue, because it's gonna make you look bad way more than it's gonna make the other person look bad. Never continue to argue, but find a way to de-escalate by bringing up neutral facts about the situation you both can agree. So when there's an argument, you wanna de-escalate it. So you knew it's gonna continue the argument, but you wanna bring up some facts that both parties can agree on, and essentially go on your day. You don't want to continue the argument because it's going to draw more attention. Essentially, moderators are going to get involved, and then higher authorities are. So it's gonna make you look, it's gonna make you get in trouble. Never use your authority to justify everything. Okay, right? Just because you're police doesn't mean like you're the poop. You don't know a lot, right? Never think you can drive high speeds and accidentally hit a fellow officer and get away with it. So this happened from experience. So right, and if that were to happen, and the fellow officer, you hit the car, you spike the car, and you and he comes out, he looks at you, and you want to apologize and offer him a ride, right? Don't be that guy to just you know just say, hey, watch where you're going, right? Even though it's your fault that you're driving at a high speed recklessly, and that's just honestly that's just bad. That would be a bad look on you if that's ever reported. So remember, when you do something that's illegal, you realize it, apologize, and then argue. So not then, but Dan. So what that means that if you do something that's bad and you realize it, just apologize. That's it. Just apologize, and it is what it is. And just a quote I like is that anything you say or do would be used in court. Although this isn't really the exact warning message, but it's similar. But anything that you incriminate in a testimony or do an incriminating action will be used in court. And what this means, it's going to be used in your IA report or essentially a lawsuit. Be careful on that. So here are the takeaways from the demonstration video, which I will be going over. So before I go, reasonable suspicion. So reason to believe that somebody is about to or had committed a crime. Okay. Probable cause, enough evidence to justify that a arrest that somebody has committed a crime. So I'll be going over this commentary without the volume so I can explain my actions. Alright, so I'm driving, and first I was focused on that vehicle on my right, see if there was any issue, but then this guy comes, he swerves in, right? I'm just doing patrol, I'm just patrolling, right? What really ticks me off is that he ran a red. Right? You're not supposed to do that. So I put my lights and sirens, and there's this car too, but I'm more focused on this car because, I just can't let that slide. So anyways, so he ran the red. Okay. So I'm over here now. In the video, there was two times where I did put, I was spamming twice that driver, stop your vehicle, driver, stop your vehicle, or pull over now, right? Only because it's better to pull over to the side of the street than on the road. But continue the video. So from here, I had my reasoned suspicion that he ran a red. So we're just gonna put 1036 as a traffic stop, and I don't really need a unit. Usually when you say 1036, you want to put your location and then say that if you need a unit or not, then you know what to do. So I'm head to him. So first, I want to greet him. Hi, I want to tell him the reason. Get to the point. You want to get to the point. Make it simple. So I pulled him over for running the light. Issue with that is just to be fair. This is something that me and him can agree on. That he knows too. You're not. Well, your lights are off, and I explained this. Lights, as in red and blues. So me and him can agree on this. If he has a emergency, right, I tackled this with red and blues. Now what this means is that when you are heading to an emergency, you want to have your red and blues. Otherwise, what you're doing is speeding and you're recklessly driving because nobody knows that you're heading to an emergency. Otherwise, you're just recklessly driving. Okay. So this vehicle is obviously a personal vehicle. It's faster. I tell him a fact. Get in a proper emergency vehicle. I'm not gonna arrest this guy. You know, I even said I understand that it's serious because at the moment there was gunshots over here. I'm not really worried about those gunshots because it's out of my jurisdiction. But I told him it's serious, but still obey the traffic rules because me and him can agree on this. You can heavily fling off somebody. If somebody was driving here slowly and he was driving off fast, he would have flung that person off or fling himself off. So I asked him if he understands it. Of course, he says, yeah. So in that sense, I de-escalated the situation, right? Told him why I pulled him over, right? It could have made him tensed up. And I told him that you need an emergency vehicle, not a personal vehicle. Two, I de-escalated by, giving him that he would have flung it off somebody. I know it's an emergency, right? Me and him can agree on those things. So it's just something for him to keep in mind, you know. And then I'm not gonna arrest the dude. It's just, and I say good luck because, of course he says that MPD has a lot more power to these days because it's metropolitan. But I really don't, I only said I recommend him getting a vehicle. He could drive that vehicle. It's just I'd rather have him, stop at lights, be careful, and if you head into an emergency, right? A lot of emergency vehicles usually stop before they cross, even if it's a red light. So, clip number 2 is when I see this guy, right? So this is where I'm just following him. Just want to see if this is his vehicle, and I notice that he then stops there. Okay, so I had suspicion that he may get into the bomb area. So I wanted to just observe it. So I'm just looking at his vehicle. I'm gonna get my info tool out in a second, just to check if this is his vehicle. So it is. It matches his name. So then I just park, right? I don't want him getting into the bomb area because he can cause, severe damage to any persons out in VS spawn. So I'm just waiting. Um, just watching. So we wait there for a couple minutes. I'm just gonna speed this up. So he comes approach me, and I'm just sitting there, it's all silent. Um, I don't want to escalate the situation, so there's no need for me to reply to anything. Otherwise, just pretend I'm AFK. So he's like license, registration, whatever. A good answer would have been gives license registration, but I'm like nah, just to play around. And he's like, sir, step out. I'm like, nah. So, he starts shooting. That gives me probable cause that he was about to commit a crime, but that crime was not bombing, but murder, right? So I let that vehicle be my right away. So I just drive on. So this is where, I see this guy. Okay. So this is where I just continue a regular patrol. This is where I just want to see this guy would break anything. In the video I said that I'll stop following him after when we get to the bomb site. So I just follow him, just regular patrol, looking for any crime left and right. Um, you know, for any speeding, probably behind me. I'm not turning my camera, but I can tell if somebody's gonna speed right past me. So that guy stops for a red, I stop for a red, right? We're obeying the traffic rules. He knows it. He knows the deal. Um, so we're just driving. We're just pulling. It's his vehicle. So we're just doing our duties. He's a little swervy. I could pull him over for that, but I don't think it's that important. A bike is hard to control. So we're just driving still. And then this is where it comes to where I said that, you know what, I'm going to stop following him. So we just stopped at our last light. This is where I plan to pass him after the light. So I check behind me. There's no vehicles. And then there's that vehicle right above next to a bomb. He enters. And seeing that, I had probable cause that this person is, going to commit a crime. It's obvious. It's blatant. So I stopped my tracks there. He has an illegal weapon. So for his mistake, in that vehicle, in that sense, he had the bomb on. His intention was to murder me. So, you know, he already got himself locked up in there for that reason. So I'm just heading over my bomb. This is where the shooting happened. Same guy. He came, got arrested, and he respawned, got the same vehicle, and all it goes is that he was arrested twice, and we just de-escalate the situation from being tense. Anticipate did a great job by just saying, "Ladies, are you alright?" Just ask for jokes. I'm just like, yes, female, yeah, 'cause I'm a lady. Why not, right? So we're just heading out, going back to our duties. I did not really care about that person at all. I mean, he would have hit that vehicle, so you know, I just want to end the video here because I think I had good examples and it wasn't that busy. So we could just end the video here. So in the end, I did tell my conclusion. It's not much to say. So the key takeaways is that if you ever want to watch the video, these are the timestamps. But reasonable suspicion was shown that to have reason that someone is about to commit a crime or has committed a crime. Probable cause is enough evidence to justify that an arrest, especially that a person, somebody has committed a crime. So all said, that this is the link is here. You can always click the video and see what an example of a traffic stop should look like. See an example of how patrol should look like, and see how how you can utilize probable cause and reasonable suspicion. Otherwise, hope this helps. This would be a document, open for the public if ever leaked out. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed.